I'm Rudiger Hehlmann. I'm the chair of the European Leukemia Net. And we started with that activity in 2002. And we combined two kinds of activities that were already available in Europe at the time. There was a German competence network on acute and chronic leukemias that was on all leukemias in one country. And then there were the European investigators on CML that was on one leukemia in many European countries. And then we decided to merge these two activities and have a network that combines all leukemias all over Europe. And the reason why we thought we need such a network is that in clinical trials you need patients, and the more patients you can recruit within a short time, the sooner you will have the results. And so the idea was to merge forces between various European countries and at the same time include the interdisciplinary research partners that provided cytogenetics or molecular genetics or morphology or next generation sequencing or biometry for clinical trials. That was the idea that was behind this network. So we could use synergies, different methods needed for well, let's put it the other way, the same methods used for different leukemias, and at the same time increasing the numbers because we joined clinical trial groups from various European countries and then could either do common studies or do meta-analysis where the legal instruments were not sufficient. In order for the cooperation, there were two preconditions needed. The one was that we regularly met to know each other, to build trust and friendship, and the other one to arrive at a common language, if I may say so. Although the common language is English, but the definition of the leukemia, of a remission, of diagnostic criteria may vary from country to country, even within a country from study group to study group. So it was very important to arrive at a common language with common standards, common definitions, and also maybe a common legal platform. That, of course, is the most ambitious. And I think, by and large, ELN now exists for, this is the 14th time we meet at ASH. Yeah? So it exists for something like close to 14 years. And I think we accomplished many of our goals. And I think the most visible activities of the ELN are, on the one side, the guidelines. So we have now published close to 50 guidelines to the various leukemias. That means management recommendations, but also outcome definitions, endpoint definitions. That's also needed for the industry, for their trials. And the second is the symposia. We have this annual symposium in Mannheim, always early February, and it's preceded by this early Sunday morning, 6 o'clock breakfast meeting at ASH. There are two challenges. The one challenge is a formal challenge. I mean, what we are doing costs money. So thus far, we have been funded by public money, by the European Union and by the European Science Foundation, but that ended this July. And we are now dependent on the ELN Foundation that we founded about 7 years ago. And so we have to be a little bit cautious what we do so that we can survive of the somewhat reduced budget now. The other aspect, the other future perspective I see is that with the precision medicine, with this molecular diagnostics, we are arriving at smaller and smaller cohorts of patients which are individually defined by certain molecular markers or certain mutants or certain abnormal karyotypes. And in order to study these rare entities, we again need large groups of patients. So that means many study groups have to work together, many countries, and that's what the European Leukemia Net is good for. yesterday in the Best Abstract session, there even was a report on one cross-Atlantic study in AML, between people in Boston, and it was presented by Richard Stone, and quite a number of centers, institutions, hospitals in Germany. So, and they arrived at a significant result. So it was very interesting, and it demonstrates, what cooperation can achieve.